Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the AEW Dynamite review for the 22nd of August 2020, the special Saturday night edition. Praise for the program. This is by far the top three Dynamites since the show started last October. If you are not an AEW fan or you haven't watched in a while, go out of your way to seek this out. Worth watching. So, and it's not even for, there's matches in here I didn't like, but every match told a story or advanced a story. So episodic television wise, plus the promos were phenomenal from almost everyone. So the story was angle heavy. I wouldn't say, or the show was angle heavy. I wouldn't even venture to say that this wasn't one of the better pro wrestling television shows in the last several years in terms of making you care about the characters, walking away with more definitions to establish characters, and maybe a couple of one debut. But anyway, so we open with the opening bell for FTR with their new manager, Tully Blanchard, which we'll get to in a second, defeating Private Party. I'm not a Private Party fan. I haven't been a Private Party fan their entire run. I will give FTR credit. They are the best tag team in North America right now. I don't know enough about Japan to say the world, but that's why I will limit it to North America, but they are it. So they align with Tully. The announcers kind of explain why. Tully's wearing an FTR jacket that's phenomenal looking. It was tremendous. Match starts with some very basic hold exchanges from both teams. FTR takes over. They take over on Mark Quinn. Quinn especially shows that he's not ready for this role. He's clumsy. He's clunky. He's green, but FTR keeps him under control. Decent match for what it was and to get over FTR to another level. They build to a heart tag with Isaiah Cassidy. Cassidy hits a springboard cutter on Wheeler and a slingshot cutter on Dax Harwood for the near fall. Quinn blind tags in, hits a crossbody for another near fall. Quinn and Wheeler end up the legal men. Cassidy tries a plancha and then Blanchard pulls Harwood out of the way. Beautiful use of Blanchard as he's a manager. He does just enough to get some extra heat on himself without taking away from the match. Harwood tags back in, and FTR hit the Goodnight Express for the pinfall. Right team won here. So we go to a Jon Moxley promo. Phenomenal promo. He basically says MJF's campaign idea is a good TV. It's entertaining, but he doesn't need to hear his faults. If people want to know Moxley's faults, they can just ask his wife, which supposedly she may be coming to AEW, so that might be fun. I don't know how they would use her, but anyway, Moxley says he doesn't like people who talk too much, and that's all MJF does is talk. Makes him think MJF is hiding something. He says he hopes MJF is who he says he is. He says he hopes he can carry the company for the next 25 years because he's not sure, he being Moxley, if he'll even be around in 18 months. He's so beat up. He says he hopes that MJF will move out of his parents' basement and lose his virginity someday soon. Moxley promised to punch, kick, elbow, and smash MJF's skull. And says that MJF will in fact be champ one day, but it won't be September 5th. Phenomenal promo. Proof that promos can just be talking points to get a message across and don't need to be scripted BS. MJF cuts an equally good promo as he's surrounded by his campaign staff. They all look happy to be there, painted on smiles and such. He compares Jon Moxley to Nixon and Castro. Surprised he didn't go stronger with Hitler and Stalin, but he says the paradigm shift is an abomination. Keep in mind, MJF is in fact wearing a neck brace for the attack from last week and left him mangled. MJF says he wants to have children someday, but he won't be able to play with them. MJF's lawyer takes over and says that they have started a petition to ban the paradigm shift or double arm DDT. Says over 5 million people have signed it online. Where are like 4 million of them, or 4.25 million of them to watch Dynamite? Anyway, lawyer says that if Mox doesn't sign the document banning the DDT, that he will sue him for everything he's worth. He'll take the title, take his pride, take everything. I would have thought it would be funny to say, and then MJF will take your wife, but maybe that's too far. Anyway, so then we go into matches that don't matter. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Dustin Rhodes, and QT Marshall defeated The Butcher, Blade, Rey Fenix, and Pentagon Jr. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the wrestling, but this is a case of we put people on TV just to put them on TV. This is a brawl from the beginning. Pentagon and Phoenix hit stereotopes to the outside. Heels beat on QT Marshall for a while, who manages to tag Dustin Rhodes. Rhodes works for a while. Luchasaurus gets a hot tag post-break. Jungle Boy went for a tope suicida on the Butcher, and Butcher didn't catch him very well. Jungle Boy hits a top rope suicida on Phoenix, and then a helo on Butcher and Blade. I don't know. I just, like, why so many leapies? It's dumb. And I don't like that lack of psychology. Anyway, Luchasaurus hits kicks and hits a rough chokeslam on Pentagon. Hits a standing moonsault. Everybody hits their big moves. Let's see. So Dustin hits a destroyer, basically almost kills himself and his opponent in that one. Not a move for him to be doing at 50 plus years old. Jungle Boy and Blade ended up legal men. Blade and Pentagon argue over who's going to finish Jungle Boy. And Jungle Boy gets a roll up on the Blade for the pin. Anyway, so post-match, Lucha Brothers, Butcher and Blade are all fighting with each other. They are yelling at each other. Eddie Kingston comes out. He says they all were originally on the Indies together. He shows respect to everyone. He says they're now in TNT. He says there shouldn't be problems between the 5 of them. Kingston said the only thing holding them back from being champs is the lack of unity. He says he'll lead them to the promised land. I guess they're a new group. Do we need that many new groups? Anyway, so they showed Dr. Britt Baker. Another great vignette from her. Baker and Reba are in the gym. Penelope Ford comes up with Kip Sabian. Ford and Sabian are making out. This disgusts Britt Baker, who talks about bacteria that's transmitted from kissing, which I found funny. Baker offers them a year of free dental work, and also Reba to do their makeup for free for a year. She says there's going to be a handicap match against Big Swole. Sabian and Ford are invited to be on the team. When she offers the free makeup for a year, then they agree. They don't really care about anything but making out. Tony Schiavone tries to interview Orange Cassidy. Cassidy came to the ring, but before he speaks, Jericho makes his way out. Jericho puts over Cassidy like $1 million. He basically says he's only been pinned 3 times in AEW, and Cassidy is one of the 3. Jericho challenged Cassidy to a rubber match at the All Out pay-per-view. Jericho says he's created one match in Stadium Stampede. He'll create another with... He also says he created an amazing one with a briefcase and a ladder. Says he's done it again and threw to a video package. The video details the rules of a Mimosa Mayhem match. Yes, you heard that correctly. 500 cases of champagne mixed into a tank with orange juice. 80 gallons of it to be specific. You win by pinfall or submission or somebody going into the drink. Cassidy accepts the challenge. Jericho came to the ring with champagne to toast Cassidy and best friends, but called out the Inner Circle first. Inner Circle beat down Cassidy. And then we go to another unneeded match, the Elite versus the Dark Order, but it does advance the storyline with Kenny Omega, so it's worth it. Both the Bucks and Kenny Omega against 3, 4, and 5 from the Dark Order. Starts off with the Elite taking most of the offense. They're flipping and flopping and flying all over the place. Matt hits a series of Northern Light suplexes. That's interrupted. Matt gets beat down 3-on-1s. Manages to tag to Omega. Omega gets worked over through a commercial break. Nick Jackson makes a hot tag. And the Bucks go for the Indie Taker, but that's blocked. Silver gets a near fall off a brutal-looking double stomp. Nick hits a series of dives. Omega helped the Bucks hit an assisted Indie Taker on Alan Angels, which I think he's 5 in the Dark Order. Anyway, Omega then uses a one-winged angel on Angels for the pinfall. Omega then continues assaulting Angels post-match. Bucks try to stop him, but he acts nuts, and so I assume that this leads to an Omega turn, but I'm not really sure where it goes, unless Paige and Omega are turning on the Bucks, and maybe they're going to do something. They throw to another guy that I'm not sure why he has a job, and Alex Marvez. He's with Blanchard and the FTR backstage. So they announce a goofy gauntlet match for next week's Dynamite, where Paige and Omega's challengers at All Out will be decided. The match will begin with the 4th-ranked Natural Nightmares and the 3rd-ranked Young Bucks. The winner of that will go on to face the 2nd-ranked Best Friends. The winner of that will go on to face the number 1-ranked FTR. The winner of that, all these teams going at it in a gauntlet, will face the champions at the pay-per-view. Marvez interviews Blanchard and FTR. He asks them what their relationship is. Basically said, FTR says they want to learn how to be the best tag team, and they might as well learn from Blanchard. Paige enters, confronts FTR for attacking Rock and Roll Express last week. He says it's their business and didn't concern him. Wheeler said he wants to honor the Rock and Roll Express, and they turn their backs on them. Hayward says that he had to fake a knee injury because he didn't trust the Bucks, and they had to know if they could. He said he was pretending to hurt. Only Wheeler and Paige came to check on him. Harwood then says that it would be best for him if the Bucks didn't win the gauntlet because they keep him in their shadow. I guess Paige might turn on the Bucks, or Omega might turn on the Bucks, or then we've got a 3-way tag with the Bucks versus Paige and Omega versus FTR somewhere down the road. They're running too quickly with this. Anyway, Darby Allin defeats Will Hobbs. I'm not sure why of all the enhancement talents, Hobbs gets the TV nod to work with Allin here. Allin runs out and attacks before the opening bell. He hits a dive. This is like the 8th dive on the show. Getting ridiculous now. Hobbs takes over, hits a backdrop and a spine buster. Hobbs does have a really good spine buster. Allin Hits a springboard elbow and a coffin drop for the pinfall. Match is really a squash. Taz cuts a promo. From the announce desk, the microphones were immediately just messed up. He introduced the newest member of Team Taz as Darby. Ricky Starks comes out dressed as Darby Allin. This is hokey, but it works. He cuts a promo making fun of Darby Allin. Starks hits a coffin drop on Allin, and they end with Cage and Starks posing over Darby Allin. So Sammy Guevara this is during the commercial break with a picture-in-a-picture. Sammy Guevara comes down the stage. And then we see he's going to send Matt Hardy a message. Hardy attacks Guevara with a chair, lays him out. And Hardy continues the attack post-break. He throws Guevara off the stage and through a table. Hardy grabs the same kind of chair that Guevara did and threatens to use it, but the referee intervenes. So basically, we're going to have a chairs war now. Shivani throws to a pre-tape promo again for Thunder Rosa of the NWA. Thunder Rosa cuts a promo about being the NWA champion. Says she will take on Shida at the pay-per-view for the AEW Women's Championship. I hope that this leads to some sort of trade agreement between the NWA and AEW. This would be good for business, especially with the NWA starting their own pay-per-views. I think it's enjoyable. Anyway, so AEW Women's Tag Team Cup Final is next. Ivelisse and Diamante win against the Nightmare Sisters with the Natural Nightmares to win the tournament. This surprised me. Veda Scott is out. She's doing commentary for this match. Please, Veda Scott or Taz or Chris Jericho or anybody permanently replace Excalibur. I'm begging. Veda Scott is better. Taz is better. Chris Jericho, when he does cameos, is better. Somebody sell me on Excalibur, please. I have not missed him one iota since he's been gone. Anyway, Brandy and Ivelisse begin. They trade some moves. Allie and Diamante tag in. Diamante gets cut off, and they work over her during the commercial. Brandy and Ivelisse gets tags. Brandy hits a spear. Allie and Diamante tag back in. Lots of tags. Allie hit the rabbit hole for near fall. At least that's what they called it. Brandy teases a pedigree on Ivelisse, but gets tossed to the outside. Marshall jumps on the apron. Ivelisse bumps him off the apron. Diamante hits some sort of cutter. Pins Allie. She wins. I don't understand why Ivelisse and Diamante win when Allie and Brandy have been the constant women's team. Medusa's presenting the medals, flowers, and the cup to the winners. Diamante and Ivelisse threw the flowers down, celebrated with the Puerto Rican flag. Match wasn't good. This felt like a throwaway segment. So Jericho is on commentary next week. The Tag Team Gauntlet is next week. Matt and Sammy is announced as a tables match for next Thursday. There's a contract signing for the pay-per-view between Moxley and MJF, and Big Swole versus Britt Baker in a handicap match announced for Dynamite next week. TNT Championship Match and your main event for the evening. Cody, with a flurry of strikes, doesn't do anything to Brody Lee. Lee comes back right away with a dropkick, throws Cody over the top to the floor. Lee sends Cody into the barricade and throws chairs around like an old Bruiser Brody might do. Back inside, Lee hits a half and half suplex and a release German suplex. Lee then hits a discus lariat on Cody, who takes a flip bump in a total squash. Lee is your new TNT television champion. Did not see that coming. Dark Order makes their way to the ring. They celebrate with Lee. Lee gives orders. He says he has the power and say so now. He's got the TNT title, and people like Tony Schiavone held him down. Cody's in the background. He's being tended to by medics. They put an oxygen mask on him. We really don't know why. Cody gives a thumbs up, and Arn tries to fight through the Dark Order to protect Cody. Arn gets cut off and takes a kick from Lee. Arn does not take a bump, which at 70 plus he shouldn't. Anyway, Dark Order dumps Cody off the stretcher. Lee continues to assault him. Lee hits Cody with a loaded bag of some sort. It has the original TNT Championship in it. Dustin and QT come to the stage, but they're laid out. Brandy enters, lays over her husband. Anna Jay, who is the only female member of the Dark Order, chokes her out. Lee dumps the old title in pieces on top of Cody and poses over the Nightmare family. And basically the announcers close with the Dark Order having all the power. Phenomenal angle to end the show. Like I said, one of the top 2 or 3 Dynamite shows since October. Worth going out of your way to see if you're not a Dynamite fan or a regular watcher. But that is the end of that. I will be up later with the NXT 30 Takeover review and some of the WCCW reviews as well. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.